28 former British servicemen are in Egypt tonight. They've travelled there at their own expense to commemorate the fighting that took place there between British and Egyptian forces. This was not the infamous Suez invasion which signalled the end of British imperial power, but in the several years beforehand. The Egyptians have welcomed them, which is more than the veterans feel of the British government's attitude. Despite nearly 50 years of lobbying, no medal has been awarded for service in the Canal zone, even though many more died there than during the invasion itself. David Sells reports now on a forgotten campaign.
Towns like Preston cherish the memory of citizens who fought for king and country. They honour their dead, and local regiments like the Lancashire Fusiliers are recalled with pride.
That one there is a group of Charlie Company just forming up, ready to go into the attack on the Bureau Sanitaire.
Walter Bentham served with the Fusiliers, as did his father, grandfather and great-grandfather before him. He was a regular soldier, posted in 1951 in his first year of service to the Suez Canal zone. He remains quietly bitter that the British still refuse to honour those who served and fought there.
Szerelem, szerelem, átkozott gyötrelem.
British power worldwide was shrinking, but the Suez Canal was still in British hands, a vital shortcut for shipping to and from the east. So, when the Egyptians unilaterally annulled the agreement that gave Britain the right to police and operate the canal, this just added to British humiliation. The annulment was repudiated, British troops put on the alert, and in no time at all, Egyptian paramilitaries were striking back.
You used to patrol around the wire 10 yards apart, and you used to get the sergeant coming behind you and saying, you better be 10 yards apart, you can never tell who's going to jump on you, mate. Yeah, there was a lot of risk.
Most of us had never been aboard before as young national servicemen. We didn't quite know what to expect. We'd never heard of the Canal Zone before. When we got out there, we found that it was a very desert place. We were living in tents. It was infested with flies, mosquitoes, all sorts of things unimaginable. It was recognised as one of the worst postings available to any British soldier.
Been on a train escort when the train ran off the lines in the sandstorm. And when we got up and went on the train, looked down the train, half of it had been looted during the sandstorm. So, yeah, I mean, they're very crafty, those Egyptians, believe me, they are.
They needed to be crafty. Britain massively reinforced the Canal Zone, pouring in troops. Egypt's own army was badly armed, badly run and dispirited. So action was left to the Muslim Brothers and other paramilitaries, with discreet support, so the British said, of local auxiliary police. On January the 25th, 1952, in the town of Ismailia, things erupted. British tanks and infantry of the Lancashire Fusiliers surrounded two Egyptian auxiliary police buildings, one known as the Bureau Sanitaire. It was an overwhelming show of force designed to frighten the police into surrender. But the Egyptians refused, battling courageously for 5 hours and sustaining heavy losses. They fought, said Britain's commanding general there, with a fanatical spirit worthy of a better cause.
They weren't cowards, there's no doubt about that. I mean, they still stood on the parapet, if you will, and had a go at our lads. We were fortunate in one respect. We had positions that were a little bit higher than the Bureau Sanitaire, so we could fire down into it. But of course, the lads still had to use a tank to knock the gate down so that they could get in and do a bayonet charge. They did the job, and unfortunately some of the lads got killed. And this one here is the aftermath on the roof of the Bureau Sanitaire, showing some of the dead and injured of the Egyptian police. But don't forget, they fired back at us.
Oh no, it's too sad. There were casualties on both sides. The British lost 5 dead, 3 of them from Preston, the Egyptians 50. The action was short, sharp and bloody. But it was overkill and its political fallout was immense. Next day, Cairo erupted. Mobs torched 750 establishments, many of them British. And months later, Egypt's King Farouk was deposed, Colonel Nasser leading the coup. Ismailia had helped prepare the way. A new era was dawning in the Middle East. Imperial Britain was on the way out. It's a time successive British governments have preferred to forget. It rankles. Preston remembers its war dead, and the British troops who fought in the Suez Canal zone in the early 50s, all that they are asking is that they too be remembered. There were dead, there were injured, there was fighting, it was active service. Yet uniquely, no British campaign medal was ever awarded. And 50 years on, a crass government bureaucracy still refuses to concede that any recognition is due. Canal Zone veterans feel ignored. They feel they have a right to a medal. They've combed the Public Records Office for documents to support their contention. Cyril Blackburn has spent years hunting for evidence to show that the Ministry of Defence refusal, in its words, to reopen the case is, to put it mildly, disingenuous.
If we take a look at this book here, War Office 163/59, this is the record of the Army Council for that period. And if you look in it, you will find no reference at all to the consideration of a medal.
Something fishy in all this, says John Healy, an MP who sympathises with Canal Zone veterans. He too has done his research.
It's become clear that the committee itself never considered it. Indeed, the case was never prepared for the committee, and that they now admit, although there's no records to demonstrate this, the decision, as they describe it, must have been taken by a number of unnamed individuals outside formal meetings, yet they claim such a decision has equal weight to full consideration by the committee, the Medals Committee itself. Now, that's absurd. It's indefensible.
Ministry of Defence obfuscation has put Canal Zone veterans and their supporters in a catch-22 situation. How do you disprove a decision not to award them a General Service Medal when there's no record of such a decision being taken? And how does a campaign qualify? Nobody will tell them.
If you take Kenya as an example, during Mau Mau, we had about 12 casualties there, 12 killed there. Whereas in the Suez Canal zone, in the years you're talking about, there were at least 4 times that number of people killed. So I think on any basis they deserve a medal.
Comparisons are invidious, but they do make a point. Take British participation in the multinational force in Lebanon in 1983. The force was tiny, the expedition painless, it earned a medal. And, we are told, soldiers received the General Service Medal for doing a month in Northern Ireland, even now, with a ceasefire. Canal Zone veterans are all in favour, but they say, why are we forgotten? It is indeed a modest matter, a footnote to history. But to the former servicemen involved, it remains intensely irritating. They are not bigoted men. The group, travelling to Ismailia, take with them a plaque to present to the Egyptians.
You need something that other people can see that's on display, maybe in the police headquarters, maybe in the information centre, that shows that the LFs and the police have no aggravation against each other. And so I'm going over there, not to cement peace, but to say we're still mates or still friends, and we've no aggro against the ones that we fought against.
All that's lacking to honour the British dead, and indeed all who survived too, in the group's view, in this their last battle, is a campaign medal. No chance, says the Ministry of Defence. The issue is closed.
There are many, many people besides the lads in my battalion who either died or were wounded. There were Mauritians, there were the RAF, strange as it may seem. There were all sorts of people serving over there who took part in different types of small actions. Ours was a big action, but there were a lot of other people who were in ambushes, who got shot on patrol and that sort of stuff. I'm fighting for them, I'm fighting for our lads, and I'm fighting for the lads who were still over there, 6 foot under the ground.